welcome to Mismatch. So today's guest has been called a villain, a heartthrob, a husband, a dad, and lately, the guy keeping Mormon wives in check. Yes, I sit down with Nick Viall, who went from getting rejected on national TV with a ring in his pocket to now hosting I like to say anyway, one of the biggest relationship podcasts in the world, the Viall Files. Now, from heartbreak on The Bachelorette to front row seats at reality TV's messiest moments, Nick has truly seen it all. And so, in true mismatched fashion, I asked him, well, everything. We talked about villains, we talked about vulnerability, fatherhood, we talked about some of his biggest lessons learned, and love, which led him to where he is today. And so I'd say like this podcast is for anyone who's ever been called too much, too honest, and maybe too emotional. This is for you. You're going to want to listen. So let's get right into it. Here's Nick Viall. Nick, it is so great to be with you. Welcome to Mismatched Now. This is a show about, finding love in all its forms. And I feel like I'm talking to an expert right now. So I'm especially excited to be here with you today.
I'm very excited to be with you. I think you're generous with the expert, but I have a few years of lived experience with some tough lessons learned that I've been able to pay forward to my audience.
So I want to take you back to kind of Bachelor Nation, if you will, because again, that's how everyone kind of got to know you on reality TV. And I want to you've had some interesting, scenarios and things happen to you on The Bachelor. If you could go back in time and kind of whisper something in your ear at maybe some crucial moments, what would you say to yourself?
Well, I think as far as like being on the Bachelor franchise is, I think I probably would have just told myself to take myself a little less serious at times, especially in moments where I found myself getting caught up in the emotions of feelings and things like that. It's a delicate balance in the reality TV world versus and just embracing where you're at and the experience that's provided to you, and still maintaining a level of sanity. Um, so yeah, I probably, and then, maybe don't go in the bouncy castle with Corinne. I probably would have
Fair
said like,
enough. Fair
I
enough.
would have been like, let's enforce this boundary. Um, but other than that, what do they say? No regrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really honestly think, not just all jokes aside, I think, listen, it's easy to sit that back and reflect. What would you have done differently? What would you regret? That's not very useful, other than like, obviously it's good for some stories and things like that. But I've always been someone who's more like, rather than dwelling on the past and thinking about what I would have, what I regret, I just more try to learn from it and apply it going forward, because like situations that you're in usually repeat itself. And not while each situation you're in is unique, but the feelings that we invoke from various situations, and when we feel triggered, those are, good feelings to remember how you felt in those emotions, so that you can handle those feelings better going forward, especially like in relationship situations. Especially situations where you didn't speak up, but you wish you would have. And then you kind of are like, oh, why didn't I say something, and things like that. There's no point in beating yourself up about why you didn't do something in the past, but just try to remember going forward and try to learn. I mean, so I attribute most of whatever success I've had since the Bachelor franchise is just my ability to learn from, things I would have done differently rather than dwell on them. Not as like a regret, but just more like I probably could just improve or handle things differently, and just play the long game. Just like know that like you don't live and die by any moment. A bad day is usually followed by a good day. Um, and yeah, so.
Wise words for sure. And so in learning, these lessons as you're saying and kind of like applying it and moving forward, what would you say specifically something that was a big takeaway for you that's made you like a great husband and father?
Well, I mean, the biggest lesson I learned on reality TV from a dating standpoint, was that feeling in love doesn't necessarily mean you are in love. Our feelings are valid, but they're
Interesting.
also they're also feelings. and we feel things as a result of emotions and situations and various triggers and past child traumas and all that stuff. So feelings are valid, but they aren't they're often not honest with ourselves, right? And so we all know what it's like to feel in love, but I guess it just depends on what love means to you.
Do you mean
For
like you
me,
got like caught up? Is that what you mean?
sure,
Like you look back and think like I didn't know what real love like was.
sure, right? Like, or like, the lust versus love, or
Yeah.
just like that intense feeling about like wishing they would call, or just you can't think of anything but them. That's not usually love. That's like either lust, infatuation, things like that. I mean, but back to your question, like for me, love is really just, again, just wanting to be there for your people and take care of your family, and really cherishing all the moments you have. Somebody asked me yesterday if I like change diapers, and I'm like, yeah, I've changed a lot of diapers. I don't think of it as changing diapers. I think about it as quality time with my daughter, like
Yeah.
it's, I'm not like embracing the diaper part of it, but I'm just embracing. There's a moment there you get to share as a parent with a child early on, and every chance I get to be a dad and be a husband, my love language is acts of service. So I love to do acts for my family, and I feel like I'm giving love when I do that. So I really embrace that. But yeah, it's feelings are important, but they're more important for us to understand how we feel rather than to stand on business, as they're saying these days, to say, well, this is how I feel, and I am justified to feel this way, and you have
Hmm.
to respond to my feelings. Usually won't get you very far in your relationships. It's more understanding that while your feelings are valid, you understanding where these feelings are coming from, why you're feeling them, and maybe give those feelings a time to play out, to see if you feel the same way in 48 hours, or if you do, to just again understand them. No one lies to us more than we lie to ourselves. So, and our feelings are included in that.
Yeah, preach for sure. So Nick, early on, I like to say, you were really honest and like forthcoming with people. Maybe so honest that people couldn't like handle the honesty, which kind of built this reputation. I know that you've heard it before of like the villain and the villainized and what that means, but really to me anyway, it was like it's honesty. How has that kind of like developed and like changed for you?
Yeah, I think it does speak to the things I've tried to learn. I've always been the person who's leaned on just a direct form of communication.
Yeah.
And I've never been a people pleaser, and that is something that has served me well at times. I also had to learn over the years tact. Um, had to learn that like just being honest,
You can't
uh,
get it. You can't do that all the
that
time.
doesn't always land, because like sometimes people aren't, they don't need your honesty.
Yeah.
Sometimes your honesty isn't welcomed. And I think, when I'm hosting the Viall Files or hosting reunions, it is important to have a balance of, holding people accountable or asking the tough questions, but also just come from a place of empathy. And just kind of like, I'm like an empathetic cynic. So yeah, I also think that like tough questions are an opportunity, not necessarily a challenge. Especially if you have a good answer for them. Adversity is an opportunity to show something in yourself. And anyone who gets asked a direct question, especially if they answer it thoughtfully, I think it really impresses people. So I always see that as an opportunity for my guests. But yeah, so yeah, over the years, I've just kind of learned there's definitely a balance, to do that. And it's not fun having a get, no one, like, it's not even fun for listeners to um, have people like argue, it's like, or, even, you know, even if you don't like someone, you don't want to feel like someone's coming in and getting like the short end of the stick, And then again, sometimes there's a balance too. You do have to challenge people, especially if they're having a hard time seeing what other people are seeing.
Yeah.
Um, but
Specifically, we'll get there. I'm gonna just say it because Whitney. We'll go there. We're gonna go to the Mormon reunion because Whitney said she felt like called out. So like, yeah, like how do you navigate something like that? And so many personalities of like knowing when to ask the hard questions and like also then reel it in and kind of let it play out.
yeah, I mean, well, one, it's just, you're there to do a job, and it is work. It's not personal. And um, I'm also just a fan, first and foremost, of all these women. And I
Yeah.
know, I know what it takes to do what they do, and to be a dynamic reality TV star. And it takes a lot of these women. I don't think fans ever really fully appreciate um, what these women and other reality TV stars give of themselves. I think we always look at the benefits and the glitz and the glamour and these crazy experiences they all get to have, but that's because most people, including myself, wouldn't have the guts to showcase the lives that they showcase. So yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm expecting these women who are passionate people to continue to be passionate. So, regardless of how Whitney felt, I had no problem with, her reaction. I quite thought it was authentic. I just want them to be honest,
Yeah.
however they feel. That being said, it felt like, not for everyone, because Whitney, I'm a huge fan of Whitney's, to be clear. But whether you're a fan of Whitney or not, I think there was a perception over the past couple of seasons that she struggles at times to take accountability.
Hmm.
Um, and I want, that questions about feelings, right? Like we saw last season, Whitney was basically using her feelings as a justification for her actions. I don't feel like those are, and again, it's just very easy to say, well, I felt this way and therefore I acted this way, and I can't be sorry if that's how I felt. And I just don't think that's true. And I
Yeah.
and I don't think I felt that way when I was a teenager. But yeah, it's just not, because we all feel like, that if to think that way is to immediately dismiss other people's feelings, right?
Right.
So then who's right in a situation where if you felt a certain way because you didn't, if you didn't show up for a friend because you felt a certain way, well, then that friend is going to also feel a certain way. And it's not about whose feelings are more valid. It's just about, you know, after you reflect, could you, despite your feelings, handle something a
Handled
little
it
bit different?
differently. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I, that's where the genesis of that conversation happened. But again, I'm just so grateful and thankful that so many people are passionate about this show. It's a great show.
How did you
Uh,
become passionate about it?
I just knew it would be great.
Did
I
you?
was religious trauma,
Yeah.
TikTok drama. Like you could just tell these women are stars, starting with Taylor Frankie Paul. She is a strong, talented, dynamic person who is unafraid to be real in a world where, like, again, nowadays with reality TV, so many people are just like self-edited and thinking about their brand. And um, Taylor's a wonderful person and a real star. And I just think the other women kind of follow that lead. And yeah, it props to them. It's those women that make the show so special.
Do you think that you would like to host reunions going forward? Like, what was it like sitting in that seat? Because you've been on the other end of things, but controlling like the conversation is kind of fun.
I love doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and I got to kind of do the unofficial Temptation Island reunion on our podcast. And then obviously this one. Yeah, I hope get many more opportunities. Certainly like being interviewing thousands of different reality TV stars over the years. And I know what it's like to be in production. I know I kind of understand everyone's point of view. And so I feel like able to utilize that skill set. But I find it to be a lot of fun. So far the audience seems to be satisfied.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is the headlines that I've been seeing, and I'm sure you've seen them as well, is Nick Viall's coming for Andy Cohen.
Not, no, no, no.
I don't mean it
Especially,
like that. Like, but that's that because it was so good. Like it was so well received and you were so great. Like, have you actually like talked to him or has he said anything to you?
I mean, Andy's been always like a role model for me from
Yeah.
afar. I've always really admired his work and I've always looked up to him ever since I've been in this space. And I've shared that with him a couple times and he was very gracious about it. I have not spoken with him since hosting the reunion. Um, but he's the legend. He's the
Yeah.
gold standard. And um, yeah, I mean, if you're not Andy Cohen, when it comes to these types of reunions, there's usually a lot of um, dissatisfaction from fans.
Backlash, yeah. The people pissed off for sure. You can say that.
I think what makes Andy so great is that he is passionate about these shows he
Yeah.
produces,
Yeah.
right? You can tell he's not just some hired gun.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, and
that
same
he
with you.
does.
You're coming from a place of like watching it, feeling for these people again in like different ways, right?
Yeah. So just to be in the same conversation as Andy is an honor, but definitely not. I hope there's a more. I hope there's a lot of room in this
Of course,
space.
there's room for everybody. There's room for everybody, but you were really great. You were really
But if
great. So yeah.
Andy ever wants, if he ever, I think he's going to be here for a long time. But if he ever doesn't feel like doing it anymore,
If he has
um,
a sick day, just saying.
yeah,
That's
the
all.
sick day. I'm here, Andy.
Nick, I want to talk about your podcast because it's amazing, and I love like the realness of the conversations that you and Nat have with everybody, with all your guests. I want to like, I know this is like a tough question to ask you, but is there a moment like throughout this journey of podcasting that really like stands out to you, a particular guest, or that kind of really like resonated with you?
I mean, recently I got to interview Dakota, who is Taylor's former partner. Um, I was glad how people received that. Obviously, there's a lot of sensitive conversations in that interview. Um, and I'm just glad that I think when I started my show, it was more. I remember early on, people were just like giving me critiques about my interviewing skills, and I was like, this is not that serious.
You're like, I'm just
Expectations of
chatting.
me, like I'm just like,
Yeah.
and then, but I mean, but I say that, but like I was grateful for that because it was like, oh well, if my audience has expectations of me, I should have expectations of myself, and if I'm going to actually interview these people, it is a skill set that I want to develop and learn and grow, and if and so that has evolved over the years. And, just I guess I brought up Dakota's episode just because we obviously have a wide range of conversations from silly, goofy fun to serious interpersonal relationship conversations. Uh, we recently interviewed Kaya Sokovala, Sokovala, who was very bravely came forward about her experiences with Harvey Weinstein. So like we definitely run the gauntlet of different conversations, and I'm just glad
Hmm.
that we seem to be able to handle each one. And, if I can make my audience feel like they're in the room with us, listening to a personal conversation rather than like an interview, then I've done my job. And it feels like that's how people seem to feel when listening to our show. And I'm grateful for it. But yeah, it's definitely been something over the years I've had to develop that skill set. Because at first it was like, oh, let's just come on and chat. Let's talk about whatever. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's nice to see that it's been able to grow into what it is.
And it's really cool to see you and your wife, like Natalie, do it together. Like, do you talk shop at home or like do you kind of leave that? Because I feel like it would be really hard to not carry that with you when it's your best friend that you're working with. And then you go home and you like live life together as well and are raising a child, you know?
I mean, we definitely talk shop for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm always working in my head.
Yeah.
I'm sure Natalie would probably prefer that to like die down a little bit, uh, but we're very lucky because we love what we do.
Yeah.
Um, and while sometimes it feels like work, there's harder work out there. Um, and we do have fun. We do love working with each other, and it's like it also just happened organically. I just Natalie within the healthcare space when I met her as a surgical tech.
Hmm.
And then and then I was like, "You're funny." And a few times I had her on the show, people loved her, and I thought she made the show better. Um, so yeah, I mean, it keeps us more connected. We love working together. Um, it's when it comes to relationships, it's like, it's like anything else, work smart, not hard, it's good to have your space and it's good to have your own things, but the more you do together, the more you stay connected, the more you have in the more you have, the more things you're mutually invested in. Um, you're just more motivated to wake up and stay connected with your partner. And so for us, I think we're very grateful for that. Because I think it's just more that we look at it like that, like everything else, there's days where it's like, oh, it's like work, but we get to do things together, be together, talk
Well,
together. So it's something that we are grateful for.
and your job's so busy, you're here, there, and everywhere. So if you can, it's hard to find quality time. And if you can do that while you work, that's like a nice thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been on a plane like 50 times this year,
Oh my
but yeah, that's the
gosh.
thing is we're always together. We're very busy. We're very on the go, but we're on the go together. And I wouldn't be able to stay as connected as I am as a husband and as a dad while working as hard as we do without the fact that we get to do this together, which is pretty cool. I don't
That's
have to
really
make I
nice.
don't have to make the sacrifices that
Yeah.
the other people would have to make. Um, so I feel very lucky.
Also, I mean, I'm just gonna say it how it is. Like sometimes when you spend a lot of time with someone, sometimes you get on their nerves. Sometimes there's love there. Doesn't mean that they don't bug you about certain things. What do you do that drives her insane?
So many things. Cabin doors open, a lot. Yeah. Her new ick is I push where we have a Suburban, there's a
Yeah.
button. I don't like waiting for the button. I'm like manhandling the door. That pisses her off.
Yeah,
Um,
fair.
yeah, I mean, listen, it's we're all annoying, that's for sure. And we all get on each other's nerves. Yeah, I think if you're lucky enough to more, thankfully for us, more things we laugh more than we bug each other. And I honestly think it's just because we're so just invested in growing what we have. We have a common bond, and we have again we are in it together. I think that makes it so much easier. Rather than like, we have our individual goals are so aligned, whether it's being parents, what we want out of our relationship, career wise. We don't compete. And these are all things in other relationships I've had that weren't the same, and that I think that makes a lot things a lot easier for us.
Yeah, absolutely. That alignment is super important. I know our time is like coming to an end, but Nick, do you have time for a little like rapid fire?
Sure.
It's called Nick's Picks Rapid Fire. Here we go. Love letter or roses?
Well, I would probably send roses, but I think a love letter would be more meaningful.
Fair. Most overused emoji that you send to Natalie.
I don't send my wife emojis anymore.
No more emojis.
You
First,
love the hand flip.
that's a
That,
good one.
yeah.
First celebrity crush that you've ever had.
That I ever had. Selma Hayek is up there. She comes to mind.
Nice. Have you met her?
Uh, I haven't. Although I will say Lisa Rinna was maybe the first when
Yes,
in her soap opera days.
for sure. Have you met her?
I have not met her in person. No.
Okay. Okay. What's your biggest ick in dating?
Uh so many.
You can name more than one.
Saying you're on your way when you're not. It's definitely there.
Yes,
Yeah, that's just like being inconsiderate of other people's time. That's more of a
totally.
bad breath, you know, just yuck.
Fair.
Um, it's just so easy to have gum or a mint. Um, That's about it. Yeah,
Those are
I'm not
good. Those are good ones. I haven't
picky
heard
with
those before. That's good. What's your favorite dating show on television right now? Or streaming services, I should say.
dating show. I mean, Love Island right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you watch
it's
the UK and the US?
just the US right now.
Just the
It's hard.
US.
I wish they were separate. They're at the same
Separate
time.
times. Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
I hear
but
you.
it's a fun. Yeah, it's a great show. I love it. It's messy. It's fun. I wish the internet would chill out a little bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
try not to open my phone because then it spoils things for me too. As I'm like watching it, and I was like, I just want to have my own opinions and have blinders on and not be inundated with, did you look at this person's past? Have you seen this? It's very
Fan
overwhelming.
culture has gotten out of control.
Yeah.
But that all being said, it's a fun show. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Ditto. Okay. Are you a grand gesture kind of guy, or are you more into small, everyday little things?
Definitely small, everyday little things. Yeah.
Um, what is a red flag that people shouldn't ignore?
Um, saying one thing and doing another,
That's a
you
good
know,
one.
just the people.
What is a future dating rule that you are gonna give to your daughter?
Dating rule. God, I really want to limit my dating rules with my daughter because I just feel like, especially rules are meant to be broken, at least for the
Ah.
adolescents and younger people. But what I will teach my daughter is that, not to sound like corny, that she is definitely like worthy of, and her time is not limitless and her energy is valuable. And I want to teach her the mindset that she can control her thoughts and feelings, and that ruminating over anything is takes energy and time, and that she should, make sure that people are worthy of hers, because a lot of people want to waste it. And so I want her to feel like I want her to have the ability to know the difference and to learn the difference so that she can hold people accountable on her own rather than mom and dad telling her what she can and cannot do.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. And she has great parents, so I have no doubt that that will be the case.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Parenting is
sure.
hard. Yeah.
For sure. I'm not a parent. I hope
It's
one day
great.
to
It's
be
great, but
one, but I'm terrified. So
it's crazy when they're young. It's like, oh, but like they're people with personalities.
it's a cool thing. Well, thank you so much, Nick. I
Thanks so
really
much.
appreciate your time. This was a lot of
Bye.
fun. Hopefully, I get to chat with you again and I follow along your journey and I wish you all the best.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you, Nicole. All
Yeah, thanks.
right, bye bye.
See ya.